Hey guys, it's me Sujoy over here. Welcome back to another video. So on this video, I'm going to be talking about what India should learn from Vietnam. So this video, I'm going to be talking about India. I'm going to be talking about my personal experience of visiting India last time, and also before that. So I just want to talk about my personal experience. This is not going to be like an economic video, which you're going to see on other YouTube channels, or talking about the GDP, growth rate, and all that. I'm just going to get to the core. Okay, I want to get down to the crux of it. Okay, so if you're new to my channel, the name of my channel is called as Sujo in Vietnam. I've been living in Vietnam for over 6 years now. I was an English teacher before for over 3.5 years, and then I started my online business. And I'm also a full-time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. So yeah, I've been, as you know, a quick disclaimer that my channel is straight up no BS. I don't like to make sugar-coated videos, or I don't like to make travel-related videos. So I talk about my personal experience. So, so my target audience is very much catered to people who are very open-minded and who accept the reality. If you're a sensitive person, especially if you're an Indian watching this, and if you're sensitive, um, then I would highly recommend you don't watch this video. Okay, I'm trying to reach out to people who are more open-minded, who will accept the reality. Okay, and also I've noticed that most of you all actually watch my YouTube videos, but you're not subscribing to my channel. So it takes less than a minute to subscribe to my channel. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and support my work. Okay, that way I would be much appreciated. So before I talk about this topic, let me just start my Monday morning with my nice hot Americano coffee. Getting my thinking caps on. All right. So yeah, I did visit. I was in India a few months back, and what kind of really, living in Vietnam for 6 years. Definitely there are the pros and cons. And of course, like most of the foreigners, when they come to Vietnam, they are kind of shocked with the traffic, the congestion, and everything. But to be honest, like I'm from India. India, uh, it's to the it's like there are it's to the next level actually. But let me just talk about the first one. Okay, the first one which I observed was public hygiene. Okay, it's just that when I was back in India, I just saw like so much of trash around the streets. And what kind of shocked me was that whenever I would take these tuk-tuk drivers, or even when I would book an Uber back in India, like in Vietnam you have Grab, in India we have Uber. So I would book the Uber tuk-tuks. They would some of the drivers, they would be just spitting on the roads, while the passenger is there. I mean, spitting on the roads, chewing tobacco, spitting multiple times. So say, for example, if I want to go from one destination to another destination in my city, which takes less than 10, which takes around 10 minutes or something like that. I mean, the guy would be repeatedly spitting around, very unhygienic, a lot of trash around. And the shocking part is that people, bystanders, they're like walking by the trash. So like unlike here in Vietnam, if you go on the streets, if you're the streets are usually very clean. Okay, Yes, there are trash, but it's kept on the like it's kept near the trash bin and all those kind of things. But you want to be finding trash around on the roads here in Vietnam. It's just that it's a huge. And I have never, for so many years of living out here in Vietnam, I've never seen people spitting on the roads while driving their motorbikes, because predominantly the majority of the vehicles which people drive here in Vietnam are two-wheelers, whereas in India you have a lot of four-wheelers and also you have two-wheelers. But even the people who are driving cars back in India, they're like spitting on the roads, and that's kind of a bit disappointing. Okay, the second one would be the infrastructure. I personally feel that the infrastructure level of Vietnam is better compared to India. I mean, don't get me wrong, like there are a lot of beautiful buildings back in India. Like if you go to major metropolitan cities, like in Bangalore, in Mumbai, but the majority of the infrastructure, like the roads, um, they're not properly designed. You'll see a lot of potholes back in India, and also like broken roads, or it's like the designs of maybe the bridges and everything. They kind of look like not very professionally. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just that here, because here in Vietnam, especially if I'm talking about Ho Chi Minh City, like at night, you can see a lot of skyscrapers, beautifully lit up streets, even the bridges, they have lights. When you're crossing over the bridges, they have beautiful lights and everything. And even if you go around different small cities here in Vietnam, they're like really coming up really well, with beautiful buildings, infrastructure. I mean, like if you look at even Vung Tau and all that, it's becoming like a business hub. A lot of business is going to be happening in Vung Tau, and of course, so definitely, Vietnam is heavily investing on infrastructure development and quality when it comes to other cities in Vietnam, and of course the major cities over here like in Ho Chi Minh, and even in Hanoi. But yeah, it would be nice to see the level of infrastructure the quality level of infrastructure in India being improved, because I didn't find it to be very attractive, when I was there during my last stay. Now let's talk about the healthcare system. Okay. Now I'm going to be talking about the rural healthcare system. Okay. Like I'm staying out here in the countryside, but you do have proper hospitals, and everything is pretty organized. And because I'm staying out here in the countryside, which is like 45 minutes drive to Ho Chi Minh City, but like in a countryside where it's kind of it's kind of isolated and everything, but hospitals and everything, it's just kind of impressive. Everything is so organized and proper, which, like, there are still many rural locations in India where you don't have proper hospitals, where doctors have to travel by, have to travel by road to, or it's just that it would be nice to focus a bit more on the rural hospitals back in India. So I don't want to get too much into detail about this because I'm not very knowledgeable about that, but this is my personal opinion. Okay. The next point which I want to talk about would be the political polarization back in India. Like, it's so funny, like, because, like, say for example, of course we are the largest democracy in the world, one of the largest democracies in the world, but there is a price to this. I mean, there is a negative flaw to this. Like, what I'm saying is, like, there are like these sensitive, we are very sensitive to religious topics, if something is, because in India is a predominantly a Hindu nation, but like religious topics, or like, oh, he stole my chewing gum, so now we're going to be creating a lot of turmoil. We're going to be doing a lot of protests on the streets. Who stole my candy? He stole my candy, or something like that. So, basically, don't get me wrong. Like, we fight over silly things back home. Like, when I'm talking about politics. Like, who cracked a joke, or who did this, or who did that, or what. Do you think that's really helpful for the nation's development in terms of planning, strategizing, where we should really focus on, instead of just fighting over petty things like who stole my candy, or oh, someone got sensitive, so for 1 week we're going to have protests, or for 1 month, or we're going to block the parliament session, or who stole my money, who stole my Indian rupee, or something like that. Who wants to watch garbage politics? Like, young Indians, we're kind of fed up watching garbage politics, fighting over nothing. And so, and sadly, the media is kind of amplifying all this. Like, we have so many media news channels. They're wasting their time talking about silly little things, where we should actually focus on the development of the nation. Focus on planning and strategizing. Focus on global, international politics. I mean, focus on having more bilateral agreements. Because here in Vietnam, what I've observed is, it's like, yes, Vietnam does have a systematized political structure. It's a one party political structure. Of course, it's a socialist republic. But what I do like is, every day when I check up news here in Vietnam, I always see, like, Vietnam is signing some bilateral agreements with some foreign countries, having strategic partnerships. Like, they're very active. They're very active when it comes to foreign affairs. Okay, signing treaties, signing deals. Every week, you can check like 10, 12 articles about, this person from Vietnam has signed this bilateral agreement. Some foreign minister is coming to Vietnam to sign agreements. Because Vietnam is now, that's the reason why Vietnam has become so successful compared to India. Whereas back home in India, people are fighting over who stole my candy. Oh, I'm very sensitive, or something. So I think there should be some kind of a little bit of political reform done back home, so that everybody is streamlined back home with one intention, with one goal, is that we need to focus on the planning, the target of 2025 or 2030. We should focus on that, and instead of fighting about little petty things. All right. So, right, the next point would be like the cleanliness. Right. Vietnam is much cleaner compared to India. This is my personal experience, and I'm sure most Indians who are also traveling to Vietnam have observed this. It's usually, Vietnam is generally very clean. They have, most of the Vietnamese people, in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evenings also, they like to sweep and clean the streets, right? They make sure there's no trash around the roads. Even here in the countryside, I see in the evening, people are sweeping outside their homes. They're keeping it very clean. There are proper trash bins where people are throwing trash in. Nobody's throwing garbage on the roads just like that. And it's definitely very hygienic, because over here in Vietnam and even in other parts of Southeast Asia, if you have observed as an Indian, is that generally Southeast Asian people like to keep themselves very clean, very hygienic, and of course things are very clean, like the streets and everything, which which you not find in most of the, which you not find most of the streets back home in India, because still you'll see people spitting around, throwing trash. It's just like, and that's the reason why you have these diseases like dengue, which happens back, because these flies, these mosquitoes, these grow out of these trash and, or dirty river, the Ganges water. I saw a couple of those YouTube videos of Ganges. It's like really extreme dirty water, people bathing, like poop moving around the water and all that kind of shit. It really needs to be cleaned up, what I mean? So the cleanliness factor, and that's the reason why most of these foreign YouTubers, when they come to India, they first show out these slums and everything, these slums, how people are living, and like trash being thrown around. So it does not give a good image about my country, and that's the reason why India is usually shown in a very negative limelight when most of these expat YouTubers are coming and showing around. So that's not a very good sign. So that needs to be focused on. The next point would be digitalization. Definitely, when it comes to digitalization, Vietnam is a bit more ahead compared to India in terms of digitalization. Digital banking is being emphasized more out here in Vietnam. And of course, like you should see the quality of ATM machines out here in Vietnam. It's far better compared to in India. More touch screen. And if you look at a couple of these advanced banking sectors like TP Bank, where, like it's like you're going into a kind of a touch screen machine where you even have an automated bank teller who comes online and assists you with your banking activities. So I think that's where actually India should also focus on making banking sector in India more digitalized, and of course having sophisticated banking machines, ATM machines like TP Bank here in Vietnam, and making it more advanced, more digitalized. Because still back home in India, a lot of things are done using paperwork, and it takes time going through a lot of loopholes and all that. So I think that should be more digitalized. Of course, there is an effort being made. A substantial effort has been done for this back home in India, but I think there needs to be more emphasis for this, making India completely very digitalized. And because I think Vietnam is still ahead in the game when I'm talking about digitalization. So the last one, which is very important, is the safety. Okay, living out here in Vietnam for many years, I can conclude that Vietnam is far safer compared to India, because like I stay out here in the countryside, or if you go to Ho Chi Minh City at night or any other city out here in Vietnam, girls, they can wear like short pants, move around, or little children moving around with their family, or walking freely on the roads. It's very safe. There's you don't have any crimes. You do have gun laws out here in Vietnam. You're not supposed to have guns. You're not supposed to carry a firearm. It's illegal out here, and I think that should be the same back home in India. Is that carrying firearms should be illegal. Should be okay, if you do have a license for carrying a firearm, that's a different situation. But that's the reason why there's so many crimes back in Delhi, and like it's kind of become a gun capital. In Delhi, like you have gangsters, they're carrying around guns freely in their cars. If they have a road rage, they shoot someone down. I think there should be a big emphasis over there. Like there should be strict gun laws back home. People who are carrying firearms back in India, like they should have proper licenses to carry those firearms. And of course, here in Vietnam, you don't hear about rape and all that shit. You don't have that. even in like even if in Thailand and all, you don't have these things. Like whereas in India, like every maybe in a month you're going to be hearing like 4 or 5 cases of rapes being happening around, raping little kids and everything. It's really sick. So, and I would blame the education system for that because there should be more public awareness back home in India, a big push, a big drive that about about creating more awareness about this is wrong, or and so many like these gang rapes which happened back in India and everything. I mean, I myself am Indian, but I feel unsafe, stepping out of my home after 9 p.m. at night. I just like to be at home, whenever I visit India. Here in Vietnam, I can go out and I can even, if I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, or, I can go out at around 10 or 11, 12, sit around, just chill. I don't have any problems. And, the safety of women over here in Vietnam is far better compared to safety of women back home in India. And that's the reason why it's become such a big joke out here. Like most of these YouTube channels, Vietnamese YouTubers, when they go to India, they're like, they like to emphasize on this, like women in India are not usually safe because, there are so many, some stupid Indian men, their IQs are so small and, they're looking at women as objects, so I think there should be more public awareness, more media. The media should focus on this, a big drive. More education system needs to be, because it's just that India in general is still a very unsafe country. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but it's definitely a very unsafe country, and especially for, female expat YouTubers also who are coming to India. I've heard their stories, their share of stories. And of course, recently, about this story about this couple, a foreign couple. They came to India, and this guy's wife got gang raped and all that shit. We do also have foreign motor vloggers coming to Vietnam, going to secluded, isolated locations here in Vietnam. They're treated very nicely, very safe. So in general, Vietnam is a far safer country compared to India, and I think this is where India should really focus on for this year and even for next year to make India extremely very safe. And I would like to see people in India become more hospitable, more nicer, more kinder. Because sadly, back in India, usually majority of the people, I do find them to be kind of rude, arrogant, and that's not helping actually for creating a good image about my country. So yeah, let me know about your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below. Like I said, my channel is straight up, no BS. I talk from my personal experience. I'm not sugarcoating anything. If you're a sensitive Indian watching this video, don't watch it if you cannot accept the reality. Don't just be kind of a one-sided person. Oh, my country is the best, I don't want to hear these kind of low lives, I'm talking from my personal experience, I mean, I love my country too, but these are certain things which India should really focus on and which India should really learn from Vietnam, right? So if you like watching this video, make sure to like my video. And if you found this video to be informational, you can buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. And if you're traveling around in Southeast Asia and you want to start a successful online business, you can check out my income stream site down in the link below. So with that being said, you guys have a great day and stay blessed. Peace out.